this is Recreational Homestead. We've been breeding American Bresse chickens for over 3 years now and have been selling them and shipping them for almost 2 years. And this spring, I actually quit my full-time job. Today's October 19th, 2022. And I've officially decided that I'm going to quit my job to go after this dream of mine more of being able to farm on a small scale and be at home helping to raise my kids and spend time with my family. American Bresse has been becoming very popular in the homestead community because it grows so fast. They lay so many eggs, and they're the best tasting chicken in the world. These chicks here won't end up being shipped out. They're kind of crusty, which means they had a slow time hatching out. They're ones that will just grow out and end up selling as egg layers or butchering them for their meat. But they're not strong enough ones to go through the mail, so we're gonna keep them aside. Every basket here is marked, and that's by breeding group. So this is the green group. We have 3 different breeding groups that we maintain, and we rotate the roosters every year to give us genetic diversity. So when you buy chicks from us, we will put a little leg band on their legs so you know what breeding group they came from. It's not a necessity to keep track of that, but it definitely gives you a leg up when you know you're starting out breeding 2 chickens together that are not related. So I'm looking at these chicks. I'm checking their navel. Sometimes that doesn't seal up properly. I'm checking their vents, make sure that's there. Checking their toes, making sure they're all there, they're not crooked. I'm also looking at the chicks themselves to make sure they don't have any black spots, because that's a big thing in the white American Bresse, black leakage, which doesn't mean they're not purebred, it's just not what you're looking for when you're getting a white American Bresse. Now these birds will end up being white with red combs and blue feet, but they actually hatch out without blue feet, and in about 3 weeks their legs will turn blue. So now I have all the chicks separated by breeding group, and now I'm going to go ahead and put them into their shipping box. These are actually shipping boxes that we designed and had produced ourselves. They have our logo on them and a few other facts about the birds. We're able to punch out these holes depending on how hot it is where they're going. But that's not my job, that's my wife Liddy's job. So right now I just have to put the correct amount of chicks in each box and then get them inside.
This is where I take over. I normally have a few helpers with me.
5.
Yep, 5. Get up. But this is our biggest order, or biggest shipment yet to date. We have 15, which doesn't sound like a lot, but typically our average is like 8. Sometimes we can get up 10 to 12, but this is our biggest one. What I do when he brings them in is I go through each order. I double check the chicks, double check that they still have the bands on their legs, and then I look at the weather of each place that they're going to. And put 2 things into consideration. Put where they're going and the temperature there, and then how many chicks are in each order. With the box of 25, they can keep each other pretty warm. So I'm going to poke more holes for a larger order and less holes for a smaller order. and depending on where they're going, the number of holes that we poke will change also. But our boxes are all custom, so you can choose how many holes you poke on each side and on the lid, which is super nice. So I did this a couple days ahead of time just to try to do as much beforehand as possible so that it's easier on the day that we ship them out. But on the inside of each box, I put a little shipper envelope, and that will have your receipt or invoice, whatever you want to call it. And then we also put in a few stickers, a little thank you or a little surprise. So I check the weather, where they're going, and then I'll poke holes depending on where or what the temperature is.
So Lydia and the kids went and dropped chicks off at the post office, and literally you just take them in and drop them off to your local post office, and they check them in and bring them into the back. It's really that easy. And a lot of people in the lobby every time are like, you can just send chicks out like that? How does that work? And so I sit there and explain to them that the chick soaks up the yolk before it hatches, and that's because that's the way God made it. God made them that way, so that way they could stay under the hen and wait for the other chicks to hatch. So that's just us utilizing that. So the chicks get shipped out with no food, no water, and the most important thing is that they've never had food or water, and they can survive in there for 3 to 4 days. Most of the time it takes 2 days to get to their destination. Sometimes it's 1 day, sometimes it's 3 days. But if you want to see what it looks like when you receive your chicks in the mail, check out this video here by the Walker Farm fam. We sent them a box of chicks down there in Oklahoma.